Goes Happy Hour.
If you like pina coladas.
This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Check it out right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now,
The 3 times sexiest man in Millington, Johnny Harden.
Yo, how is everybody doing today? Welcome into a little Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. And I'm going to tell you something, man. It is a beautiful day. We can talk about the weather. Who cares? It's winter, man. Who cares? You know what it is? It's that season of love. It's that season of forgiveness. And it's also that season where the Grizzlies like to win. Tigers like to win. Cotton Bowl's coming up on New Year's Day where Memphis Tigers going to play Penn State. There is just so many good things going around the Tigers program. You would almost have to be insane, literally, to not be excited. You would have to be, actually, you know what you would have to be? A non-Tiger fan. It's kind of simple. Like, if you don't like the Tigers, you're probably like Ebenezer Scrooge. Bah humbug. Bah humbug. But you know what? 3 ghosts are going to come visit you. One, the ghost of Christmas past that showed you how bad the Tigers used to be. And the very, very few years. Well, they did have some good years now. But the very few and far between. And then you're going to have the ghost of Christmas present. Yeah.
Scrooge is. I thought it was just.
It's past, present, future.
And then future, because present.
Or no, it's
you
past,
would know already.
No, because he does a little dude.
I thought it was just
6, 7,
past.
1, 2, 9. No, there's 3 ghosts. You've never seen Ebenezer Scrooge?
No, I thought I have, but it's been a while, man.
Dude, okay.
Not since I was a child. You know what I mean?
Either Gabe Kuhn is making me feel like the ultimate stoner on national radio right now in Memphis, Tennessee. Like my brain don't work, but I watch, and I know you're gonna think I'm crazy now when I say this, but do you know who played Scrooge in a movie I watched? Bill Murray. Yeah, and if that didn't happen, now I know I'm done. But I'm being dead serious when I say this. Life is beautiful. We have the holiday spirit of giving going around. We have the Memphis Tigers who are winning the round ball, which is something that, was expected for so many years. And then they took on that hard time after Cal left. The Pastner years were a nightmare. Tubby Smith was just straight up lies and BS and thievery. And I don't care to call it what it is. He straight up stole from the University of Memphis. He lied to the University of Memphis. I don't think he's a good person, and I don't think he's anything other than a thief from the Mid-South. Now, what he did maybe at Kentucky or for other people or his coaching, where he's coaching now, you can say maybe some good things about him. We're not always measured. Our whole life is not measured on just one, part of it. But his part at Memphis never was a part of Memphis. Not one time did Tubby Smith ever consider himself a Memphian, a Memphis Tiger real coach. He didn't care about the people he coached. He didn't care about the people that he brought in. He didn't care, obviously, about the Lawsons. He didn't care about Tom Bowen. He had no respect for the president. He had no respect for the fans. In fact, he had no respect. I call him Ebenezer Scrooge.
I mean, I'll throw it out there,
of the capital.
Since you brought up Tubby, I think this is an interesting factoid right now about Tubby. Where does he coach? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, I know where Keith coaches.
Where?
At that crummy
High
school
Point.
he used to play at.
High Point. Guess what their record is?
And
right
by the
now?
way, can I tell you something? High Point, how he talks about. Have you heard him talk about High Point?
No.
First week I went to High Point, I called my daddy and said, you know what, they ain't treating me right. And my daddy said, were they paying for your school? I said, yeah, Daddy. He said, are they giving you an education? I said, yeah, Daddy. He said, well, shut up and don't come home because I've already given away your room. Wow, Tubby. So many kids haven't had the same experience as you. I know you're so damn special. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to throw out that he's 2-8. And by the way, thanks to the
2
text
and 8.
line. Thanks to the text line. They say, "Come on, Gabe." There were 3 ghosts, past, present, and future.
Told you.
Yeah, you got me, man.
I'm not crazy.
I have not seen a Scrooge movie in a long time. I'm just going to put it out there.
Dude, the one with Stormy Daniels, the president's girlfriend, doesn't count. Okay, Gabe, I know you. Gabe's looking at me like, how did you know? And I'm like, is there really
I am not looking at you like, how did you know? I'm looking at you like, what are you talking about?
Is there a Stormy
What are you
Daniels
talking
Christmas
about?
special I need to know about?
There is not. This is not a how did you know look. I can promise you, all those people listening out there,
was
I
that
am not giving him a how did you know look.
Was that a WTF look?
Absolutely, that's exactly what that look was.
And WTF stands for wow, telling the truth, pimp or something, forever. I'm kidding, and I'm having a great day today. I know y'all. I hope y'all are ready because we have John Luke McCord coming to join us at 2:00. We are going to get straight up in all this, and I'm going to talk finally about the Heisman. I thought the Heisman Trophy Award, the night, I thought it actually was really good. I thought Joe Burrow. I thought watching Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts. I thought my man. Who's the best player in college football?
Joe Burrow.
No.
Chase
no,
Young?
no. Okay. Really?
Well, no. I'm saying Joe Burrow.
okay,
Absolutely.
you say
Joe
Chase,
Burrow.
so
Joe
really?
Burrow meant the most to his team.
Well, see, I went through those quarterbacks very, very fast. But the way I hear, and I'm asking you as an offensive lineman, and I guess that's why I'm asking this and I'm looking at you so crazy, and maybe I'm 100% wrong. And this is a good thing, and I didn't even plan to go here. But as an offensive lineman, I've heard nothing but how great the Bosa brothers were at Ohio State. I also heard at the NFL Combine how they can run a 4.7 or a 4.81, and they weren't very good. You look at my man C. Young, he's probably the greatest thing since sliced bread. Literally. He's so good, he reminds me of this beautiful young lady that I know. Oh, who just brought my man a pastor burrito. Rachel, we love you. You know that. Everybody out there loves a little Rach. But, no, for real, Gabe, I ask you as a lineman and a football player, you know Joe Burrow scares the bleep out of you. You know that Justin Fields is scary as his ale. You know Jalen Hurts is a leader of men. But if you had to line up at left tackle, and you maybe had a little tight end chip help, and you were looking over at C. Young, you're telling me you wouldn't be scared to death?
Oh, I'd be terrified, but at the same time, he's a defensive end. He had 16.5 sacks. That's absolutely incredible. He missed 2 games.
Incredible.
Missed 2 games. But at the same time, you talk about Joe Burrow, what he meant to that LSU team. He meant more to his team than anybody else in the country meant to their team, in my opinion. That's why he won the Heisman. That's why he's in the position he's in.
No, I agree. No. This is where me and you are going to have a lot of fun because I just realized we're about to have a talk. Miss Rachel, you're going to have to be quiet over there and you're going to have to listen. You have to no talking, dog talkie, because I've talked to Gabe right here because we have found something out very importante. I am a quarterback guy. You know that, right? You know I'm a quarterback junkie like it's going out of style. Love talking about the quarterback position. But I'm going to ask you right now, in all honesty, when you hear people talk about Chase Young as being twice as good as the Bosas, does that not make you think that he is Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, healthy, and at an extra level? Maybe, or am I crazy? I don't want him to turn into Vernon Golston.
I think he's very, very, very similar to Myles Garrett in the way he plays. I mean, production. He's right there with him. I mean, he's right there with him at the by not like by a huge amount. Myles Garrett still had something like 13.5, 14 sacks while he was at Texas A&M.
Right?
Yeah, 16.5. Minus 2 games, too.
Minus
I
2
agree.
games.
But at the same time, I think he'll be incredible in the NFL. But
There's a but. But can I ask
Joe Burrow? Are we talking about what's this conversation? What are we getting to right now?
Okay, here's what I'm trying to get to. Here's how I look at it. Are you ready for this? I look at it like this. It's very simple. At the beginning of the year, Joe Burrow was a 5th-round draft pick at best. On a good day, Joe Burrow has elevated himself possibly to the number 1 quarterback because he had a magical year. I don't know if that is something that is going to be
You're talking about the NFL prospects of it. Yes, absolutely.
And
Chase Young's more of a sure thing than a quarterback because quarterbacks at this day and age, they're hard to come by and it's hard to evaluate. At least the NFL is confused by them.
So you can at least see what I'm trying to say with this.
But I didn't know that's what we were talking about.
Here's what I'm trying to say is Joe Burrow has done what nobody thought he could do, and he did it in 1 year. Once he had a good season last year, but in 1 year, he elevated himself past Tua Tagovailoa. He was up there on the stage with Justin Fields. He was up there. He's a great young man. He's got a chip on his shoulder. But I think about it like this, and this is why I bring this up, because we can look about this in our past. Joe Montana, what made Joe Montana great? Do you know?
You asking me?
Yeah.
You tell me. What made him great?
Are you being serious?
He won a lot. Absolutely.
The West Coast offense.
Yeah. But, you're talking about particular things. I mean, he could throw the ball.
What I'm saying is,
That's
what I'm saying is Joe Montana was never a special athlete.
Yeah.
He was never somebody that you said, you know what, Joe Montana, you're the greatest thing in the world. But Bill Walsh was a genius, and he turned Joe Montana into one of the greatest things in the world. What I'm saying is if you take Joe Burrow and you put him on the Bengals, Joe Burrow will become Achilles Smith. He will become a nobody, and Andy Dalton on a good day. You put Joe Burrow backing up maybe Tom Brady, in a year or two, he might become a damn good NFL quarterback. But I will tell you right now, I don't give a damn what football team you put him on. He could be in the next Lawrence Taylor. My man Chase Young's run a 4.6 40. He's 275 pounds. He has some of the best hands they've ever said. They said they're as good as Bosa's, and his leverage, as low as he gets with his bend, I just don't see how anybody in the world can pass on a guy that's unblockable. And I'll tell you right now, Orlando Pace, who is the best lineman, in my opinion, ever to play the game, said, I watched that kid on Sunday, and I am glad I never had to block him. That is what I think sold it for me, because Orlando is a quiet dude. He doesn't say jack about nobody. And I know he said it because he played at Ohio State, and he was probably helping out his boy. But for those words to come out of Orlando Pace's mouth, saying, I might have given up a sack. He even said, because you know how many sacks Orlando Pace gave up in his college career?
Only Heisman finalist O-tackle I can think of.
0. Never. He said I might have given up one against him.
Now I'm with you. I think his production is gonna absolutely carry over. No question.
I do too. And this is where I wanted to also ask you too is if we look at these guys, Jalen, if we look at Chance, if we look at the stars that we are bringing up, and we look at how, let's say, if the Giants lose again and they can have the number 2 pick, they're praying that the Bengals take Joe Burrows. Honestly. You know why? Because they just picked up the quarterback last year, and they are kind of screwed. They can't take 2 quarterbacks in a row, so they're praying that he falls to them.
And here's another point,
though. Don't let them off the hook.
Here's the point alongside what you're saying. Yes, the production will absolutely carry over, but a quarterback will change a team quicker and make them win more games quicker than an edge rusher will.
I agree with you on that. If you're further along, but do you believe that the Bengals are far enough along that they're a quarterback?
No, absolutely not. I don't think the Bengals are going to immediately start winning if Joe Burrow gets in there. I think he might have a learning curve. He might have to sit down for a second. But I do think he has a good chance to be a good NFL quarterback under the right circumstances. But we've seen in the past, you look at Josh Rosen. He was a first-round pick and has not had a chance yet. I mean, the poor guy. He has not had a fair shake at this thing yet. The Cardinals trade him after 1 year, goes to the Dolphins, who are a laughingstock of the league, gets replaced by Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's just, with quarterbacks, you never know how they're going to end up because the situation they get put in can be so horrible from the jump.
To a degree and to not agree. And this is where I wanted to ask you a question. And this is where I'm going to try to prove my point as being correct. What did I tell you was going to happen last night?
The Saints were going to win.
Why?
Because Breezeless?
No, because the Colts are the number one zone defense in the NFL.
And Michael Thomas, 12 for 12. Yeah.
29 for 30. And
TD.
by the way, it's about matchups. Who is the number one quarterback in the history of sports versus zone?
Breeze.
Drew Brees. What did I say last night was going to be?
It's going to be
easiest damn game in the
yes.
world because it's about matchups. The NFL is about matchups, is it not? And the reason I ask you this question is as much as I like Joe, and what I'm trying to say is you'll get what I'm trying to say is I saw that there is no way, as good as that Colts defense is, which is it's actually a pretty good defense. They're going against the best versus the zone, period. Nobody's better. So if you got the best person against this, why are you going to still run it? Even if you're good at it, they're going to, you know what? So I look at it like this. If you're the Bengals and you look around at your team and you have so many holes everywhere and you say, okay, I got maybe a little running back action. I got a receiver who has more injuries. He's at the end of his career. Andy Dalton's kind of getting old. And right now, if we bring him in at number one, what is he going to do us more than Andy Dalton could do? But if we bring up a new guy and young, or if you're smart, you look back and say, think about what Breeze and San Diego did. And if people were smart, think about if you got rid of the number one pick and you moved down and grabbed a couple. And maybe you took a few of these players this year because you're not a player away. And that's what I'm saying the Bengals need to do, because as much as I love Joe, and it's an Ohio situation, and he's brought and I'm bringing this up, by the way, look what he did at the food pantry in Ohio. He's an Ohio kid. He went to Ohio State. He had to transfer to Louisiana to become a Heisman. Now he's going to possibly go back and be a Cincinnati Bengal? No, it sounds like it's a perfect thing, doesn't it? But I can tell you right now it's wrong. It's all wrong. Joe Burrow needs to go to a place where he can sit back. He did not take the world on fire as a freshman. He got beat out by Dwayne Haskins and everybody else. And has he been a great player at LSU? Yes, he has. But Joe Brady had a lot to do with that. The offensive line of Louisiana State had a lot to do with that. The running backs, the coach, Ed Orgeron, believe it or not, like the entire team. And the fact that he played in the Southeastern Conference and what he did in the SEC is impressive. But is this the lowest you've ever seen the SEC in defense?
Yeah, I mean the top. I think Georgia's defense was really good. Alabama's defense against good teams stunk this year. But lowest, I think the Big Ten might have edged them out by a little bit. But lowest and
I'm talking about in SEC, just the SEC.
In a while, yes.
You've seen SEC teams giving up points the way they are now?
In a while. And I think that has to do with offensive football nowadays, too.
To
like when you look at LSU, they completely change around their offense and their whole scheme. Alabama, the past 2 years, they've had game managers for years and years and years, and Tua Tagovailoa steps in and can absolutely sling the ball, so it allows more points for the other team because they're getting more possessions. So I think it's just a stylistic change with college football a lot of the time too. But at the same time, I do agree. Defenses are down. Bama's defense was not what it was. LSU's defense is not quite where it was. I agree.
Vanderbilt, who's always been known as a defensive team, they were down. South Carolina and Will Muschamp's a defensive coach. They beat Georgia defensively. They give up 313 points. That is 100 points less than Missouri. That's bad defense. Kentucky, 221. The Vols, 260 points. The Gators, 173. And the Bulldogs were the best at 162. That's, in all honesty, that's sad. This is not the normal SEC. And if you go to the West, this is where I'm messed up. Do you know as the best team, the best defense in the West, scoring-wise? Who do you think it is? Auburn, 233. Auburn, And you know who's right behind them? Alabama. And then right behind them is LSU. But the big difference is also LSU scored 621 points for the season. But basically what I'm trying to say is...
But again, I will say that there are high-powered offense. There's good, talented offensive players in that league, too, that are contributing to the defenses being not as good. Like LSU last year, you look at Bama, they were able to hold them to 0 points, but Joe Burrow and Joe Brady were not on the same – like, Joe Brady wasn't there. So, like, what they're doing this year is an anomaly compared to last year, right? Because their offense has completely changed, and that definitely has something to do with what we're seeing defensively out of the SEC.
Good text right here. It says, let's simplify this. Chase Young versus Joe Burrow debate. Would LSU have beaten Alabama without Joe Burrow? How much of a different team would they have been without him? They might have lost to Auburn. With as much offense as Ole Miss put up against them,
I think this is
they
the
might
point.
have lost to Ole Miss. How did Ohio State do in the games where Chase Young was suspended? I think they were pretty dang well. He's nice. Joe Burrow equals
I think
best
that's
player
my
in the
point.
country. But here's the other thing I was trying to explain to you and this is where I want to bring this up, and this is where I think this is going to end the debate. It's very, very simple. Joe Burrow, I don't care. He cannot go and fix the Bengals. If he is the number one pick.
Never said he could.
That's what I'm trying to tell them. And to sit there and
then the
say,
same way Chase Young can't go fix
Joe Burrow is the
Giants.
What I'm trying to say is Joe Burrow. No, the Giants are praying that Joe Burrow comes there. Praying. They got their quarterback last year, they believe. They got Saquon Barkley, their running back. They need defense. They want Young. They are praying that they're getting him. And what I'm trying to say, this is not complicated, people. I agree with this texter. Joe Burrow made LSU. LSU would not be in the Final Four without him. Are you kidding me? Have you seen the quarterbacks that played at LSU before Joe Burrow? And I'm not talking about Matt Flynn or sipping on some syrup, Jamarcus Russell. I'm talking about all the guys in between. Yes, Joe Burrow is the greatest college player in the country. But why is it you don't understand is if you put Joe Montana in Tampa Bay and Trent Dilfer in San Francisco, Trent Dilfer is the guy that we consider Joe Montana, and Joe Montana is the guy we consider Trent Dilfer. Why? Because the greatest coach played at San Francisco, and he had players around him. I don't understand why people can't understand this, that it does not matter. Bill Walsh was the man in San Francisco that made Joe Montana. If there's a man that is in the Bengals organization that can make Joe Burrow, I'll kiss your keister. That's all I'm trying to say is it's simple, people. You can pray all you want.
And I don't think anyone's disagreeing with you from an NFL standpoint either. Because you can't, again, I brought up Josh Rosen. There's a lot of quarterbacks that have been, preyed on by a bad situation, and they never sort of fully got to their, level, playing at a high level because they were with a franchise that was in the dumps.
And, by the way, I brought this up for a very good point because on the other side, before we get to it, we are going to pull out the big board. We're going to rank all of our teams. But as I used Joe Burrow and I used Bill Walsh and I used Joe Montana to try to explain some things, Peyton Manning was just passed last night by Drew Brees. Brees! Do y'all know about the whole story about Brees? Could you imagine? Would Nick Saban, if his sorry department didn't say that Dante Culpepper was more healthy than Drew Brees, would Nick Saban be in the NFL or would he be at Alabama? I got so much stuff on the other side that's going to mess you up and make you wake up and realize how important coaches are and how important your situation is. You can take a baller shot caller, and if you drop him into a pile of dong, he will leave a pile of dong. But if you take an average back and you put him behind the greatest offensive line in history, he becomes Emmitt Smith. Don't touch that dial. And remember, Chad Gatlin, MemphisFarmers.com. He don't play no games. Neither do I. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at MemphisFarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Have you started thinking about what to get your favorite lady this year for Christmas? Whatever you get her should carry a message, and that message needs to say how much she means to you. For 35 years, Mid-South men have been giving our jewelry-filled boxes which hold magnificent rings, spectacular precious gemstone bracelets and necklaces, high-fashion earrings and pendants created in 14-karat gold or sterling silver. She will get the message. When you give her a gift from Russell Brothers Jewelers, she will know you care about her enough to give her the finest there is. Beauty, quality, value, and service all go into our gift wrap boxes at Russell Brothers, along with the most exquisite jewelry anywhere. I invite you to come and enjoy the holiday atmosphere at Russell Brothers. Come see the wide selection of exquisite jewelry. Let us help you find the gift that tells her just how much you care about her. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like Chicken Newport and his new lobster enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC. DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales. Do you suffer from pain, stress, anxiety, depression, PTSD, arthritis, and multiple sclerosis? You want an all-natural way to manage these conditions. Hempville is unlike any CBD store you've ever seen. It's not a one-size-or-brand-fits-all. Hempville has a variety of CBD applications and brand names. They have a well-trained professional staff to help educate you on CBD and what application is best for your individual needs. Hempville has 2 locations to serve you. South Haven at 562 Goodman Road East and Oxford at 1801 Jackson Avenue West. Hempville, where your relief is their mission.
Nationally ranked Navy and Kansas State will meet for the first time ever at this year's AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and you'll want to be there as well. Plus, American Idol winner, country music star Scotty McCreery will perform at halftime. It's all happening December 31st at 2:45 in the afternoon. Get your tickets today by calling the AutoZone Liberty Bowl at 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Now back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour.
Here we go.
This This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die.
Welcome back into a little Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. And you know what, man? That was a very perfect sign. Sometimes you almost have to die to be reborn. You're going to say, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? The Tennessee Vols, man, they died this year before they were reborn. They had the Memphis Tigers. They were dead under Pastner and Tubby. They were reborn. You had Join the Revolution. You literally had something that was completely dead, and now it's been completely reborn. And there's a lot of stuff right now that's being reborn, and a lot of things right now that are coming out, and people are getting credit for what they deserve to get credit for. But as I talk about things that being reborn, I want to kind of change this up, and I want you to think about this. What happened if they were never born? And you're going to say, John, what are you talking about, man? Well, we're too close to having the end of the lefty specialist. Y'all don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about baseball. There's a new rule in baseball that we'll discuss very soon, and it could be the end of the lefty specialist. You could have people like Oliver Perez, who never would have existed, who might not have even had a future if this rule was already implemented in baseball, Major League Baseball. The other thing I want to bring up is, of course, Drew Brees. What Drew Brees did last night, what do you say about Drew Brees? What can you honestly say about Drew Brees that somebody else hasn't said? Is there much you can say?
No.
There's not much, right? I disagree. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you a little something. Drew Brees is one of the most talented, hardworking men ever to get to where he's at. And he has an opportunity to be considered the GOAT. And you're going to sit there and laugh because you just think Tom Brady. I know a lot of people who are hardcore Manning people think Manning because of his regular season. But again, I would like to remind you, do y'all understand what Brees did last night? I mean, you can sit there and say he went 29-30. That was straight up baller. But do you know that Brees became the all-time touchdown thrower? Do you know that he's still playing? Do you know that the person that he passed ain't? And do you know the guy in third is not going to catch him and he'll still probably play longer, and that's Tom Brady? And Tom Brady is considered the GOAT? Go ahead, Gabe. What'd you want to say?
I would say you know what he did last year as well, too, right?
No, why don't you tell me?
Got robbed. Career passing yards, though.
Oh, I was going to say other than getting robbed.
So, he is on, as a quarterback, he is on top of every, not every,
he's one
the
in
most
the top
serious,
3 of the most important. He's one in all 3 of what I consider the
most serious
important
quarterback rankings, leaders, statistical categories. He is the top, the creme de la creme.
541 touchdown passes, homie. Numero uno. Yeah, he's got that dead gum ring. He's also got the highest completion percentage for the number of passes that he's thrown. I mean, this dude is just absolutely sick. But can I bring this up? And I want to ask you something, Gabe Kuhn, because I know you don't know this. And I hate to sound like a jerk. And this has nothing to, this is only, Gabe knows this. He will know this after I tell him, but Gabe only doesn't know this is because of his age. But Drew Brees, do you know how close Drew Brees never was? Do you have any idea how close Drew Brees never ever even came to existing in the public eye? Do you know how many Division I scholarships Drew Brees had?
One.
Joe Tiller to Purdue.
Yeah.
Man came out of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Dreamed of being a Longhorn. Couldn't get there. Couldn't even get his tail on SMU. Couldn't get on A&M. Well, first it was Texas, then couldn't get on A&M. Couldn't get on SMU. Couldn't get on any. Hey, do you know that the Mean Green turned him down? How the hell did Joe Tiller and Purdue in the Big Ten know that he was going to do what he did? I don't know. But what I'm trying to basically say to you is think about how close Drew Brees was to never playing college football. I mean, he could have given up. How many people have given up in your... And by the way, Gabe, you know it. You've played with good ball players.
Like half the people that I came in with in my freaking recruiting class at Memphis ended up elsewhere or not playing football or never getting to see a snap. It just happens. It's just how it is. It's a competitive field. It's hard to break through.
It is almost impossible, and I want you to realize that Brees is going to leave the game with almost when he leaves, every single meaningful career, individual passing record. And I mean, yes, you can say Tom Terrific has the most meaningful with the Super Bowl rings, but if you take away that category, Brees is number one, he's 3 years younger than Tom Brady. He already has more touchdown passes, more yards, more receptions. He's going to own everything. And by the way, this is hurting, and I'm going to ask y'all right now at 67129, how bad is this hurting Peyton Manning? Being called the GOAT. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, a lot of people still try to call Peyton Manning the GOAT because he was the greatest regular season player. But right now, statistically, who's the greatest regular season player? It's Drew Dan Brees, man. And he just got robbed, I think, from a Super Bowl last year. So I'll tell you one thing, man. Patriots get that whip by Breezes. And Michael Thomas, hold on. Let me just tell you a little something. And yes, he looked like Michael Thompson running so damn fast like he was running the Olympics. Do you know that Michael Thomas, what did I tell you yesterday? How easy did I tell you that the 49ers game was going to be? How easy did I tell you?
You said it was going to be easy.
Were you did anybody ever sweat that game? What was it, 17-0 before the first quarter?
Yeah, I mean, it was a butt whooping.
Who was just dropping and sitting in zone coverage?
The Colts?
My man, Michael. No,
No, but I'm saying Michael Thomas just knows how to expose that. And by the way, you know how many drops he has this year?
0.
No, he has 3.
He has 3 now?
Out of 133 receptions,
3 now?
He has 3.
Well, he went through the first 10 weeks with 0 drops.
Yeah.
Broke the record.
3
So he has
drops
3 drops
and 133 receptions. He has 133 of 136 when targeted. If I'm Drew Brees, why would I aim at anybody else?
Because
Michael Thomas is absolutely
still got
insane.
Ballers. And that's
he does have ballers, but Michael Thomas is the guy.
But you know what? That's why Brees does throw it to other players, because there is nobody, and I've said this a million times, nobody has ever been able to pick up a zone blitz or a zone package better than Brees's. He has been the greatest. His mind works faster than Tom Brady's does. Nobody sees the field and recognizes the coverage and knows where to go with the football, I think, faster than Drew Brees.
And you want to know why? Is because I
think his size.
Well,
he has to set himself up to make sure he can make the throw to where he believes.
He works so hard. The amount of mental reps this guy takes. There was a video the other day that went viral of Reggie Bush, filming him. It is Drew Brees by himself in the Saints indoor facility taking drops and looking at a field with no one on it. With no one on
it.
Imagining, literally taking the mental reps without having anyone on the field.
That's why he's the best, man.
That's why he is in the position he is right now, and he could go down as the best, if not one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
By the way, just so you know, Brees is, if you can't tell, I'm very, very impressed with Drew Brees. But again, I would like to say this, and the reason I want to say this is because I am bringing up Joe Burrow. I am bringing up Chase Young. I am bringing up what I call reality. And what I'm trying to mean by that is, again, I mentioned yesterday, if Jalen Hurts, a guy who I think is one of the greatest leaders of men since Tim Tebow in college football, if he got with a guy like Jim Harbaugh and Romeo Crennel and could be a backup to somebody like Lamar Jackson, it would be great. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, John's probably saying that because both are running backs that can't throw. No, dude, that is straight up BS. And that's what ticks me off, is because of stereotypes. Just because I'm talking about two black men that played quarterback, that at first were considered by their first coaches as some guys who couldn't throw because Tua was such an exceptional thrower. Lamar threw it a little bit different, but my God, he was great and a Heisman winner when he was Louisville. But what I'm trying to say is what they do better than anybody is they get the guys behind them to back them. You listen to Mark Ingram. You listen to that defense for Baltimore. You listen to that coaching staff. They love Lamar Jackson. You listen to Oklahoma. They love Jalen Hurts. You listen to Alabama still today. They love Jalen Hurts. Leaders of men are very few and far between. And if you get the right coach, and that's why I mentioned George Seifert with Joe Montana. If Joe Montana went to Tampa Bay, nobody would even know who Joe Montana was outside of his years at Notre Dame. I'm serious as a heart attack. Joe Burrow could be one of the best quarterbacks in college football ever, and he could go to the NFL and he could be great. Or he could get stuck in a Bengals organization. And literally, the best he could pray for is Andy Dalton. It's not just your talent. It's the men around it. It's the men upstairs. It's the men coaching. It's the men teaching. And if you don't believe me, look at the Cleveland Browns. Look at Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, and look at what's going on with Freddie Kitchens, and look at Baker Mayfield, who's got more damn commercials than wins. Look at all that they're doing right now in Cleveland. Myles Garrett, they brought in Denzel Ward. Hey, Joey Dorsey, man, as a general manager, you think he gave Freddie Kitchen the keys to the Cadillac, don't you? And he couldn't get him to get a damn win because you know what? They believed in a quarterback who didn't do jack. Again, I just hope and pray that all these young men get put in the right situation, because it does not just take talent, it takes teammates, and it also takes great coaching. Nobody does football on their own. When you wake up and realize that, you'll realize why football is coached, talked about, and run the way it is. Now, I'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Only person that runs a football team as good as a football team that's like, a top 5, like a Nick Saban style. And by the way, again, didn't even get it to you. Drew Brees wanted to go play with Nick Saban in Miami. I want you to remember this. Miami. Listen to me. After Dan Marino, Miami told Nick Saban that Drew Brees, his shoulder was too messed up, and they chose Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. Imagine if Drew Brees, Ricky Williams, that offensive line, Nick Saban as coach with that defense, if they actually would have gotten together. Because let me tell you something, Dante Culpepper was washed up and done. And guess what? Nick Saban went back to coaching in college. We know about Alabama. We know about the future. But how realistically, people don't even look at last night. They watched Drew Brees break Peyton Manning's record, and they don't even realize how close he was to going to Miami. He was sitting in the office begging Coach Saban, let me be your quarterback. I'm ready to sign. The medical people told Coach Saban no. Dante Culpepper was better. History has been written. We can go look back at it. Hindsight's 20/20. But if you don't know the history, you don't know the reality of it. And if you don't look at the history, you can't make the right decisions for your future. And I'm just telling you right now, if the Bengals take a Joe Burrow with a banged up Tyler Eifert, with an A.J. Green who's running out, with Joe Mixon getting a little bit older, with an offensive line that's weak sauce, with a horrible offensive coordinator, with just a crummy organization, a guy like Joe, who is an Ohio man, who raised so much money for the pantry, who I love, he's going to go to a place, and we're going to, unfortunately, forget about my man Joe. But if he went to the right situation, who knows? Sky could be the limit. But that is life. It is not always fair. It is what it is. It is life. We'll be right back. Don't forget, MemphisFarmers.com. That's MemphisFarmers.com. My man Chad Gatlin. We'll be right back on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Sports Time with Rollo and Stacks. Every weekday afternoon from 3 till 6. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
If you find yourself plumb tuckered out by all the holiday shopping and whatnot this holiday season, call yourself a timeout and go get some delicious breakfast or lunch at Sunrise on Jefferson. Get away from all the hustle and bustle and settle into a perfect breakfast bowl for breakfast or an unbeatable burger for lunch. The menu at Sunrise is full of surprises, so you'll never get tired of stopping in. You'll always find something you haven't tried at Sunrise, and we guarantee it'll be just as great as everything else you've had. The holidays can be pretty exhausting, so give yourself a break by giving yourself some Sunrise.
Join Sports 56 Middays this Friday from 10 to 1 at Classic Arms, 1740 Germantown Road behind Corky's. 'Tis the season at Classic Arms with all kinds of holiday specials. Pay no sales tax on all firearms. Buy, sell, trade, Classic Arms does it all. Plus, we'll be giving away Tigers basketball tickets and AutoZone Liberty Bowl tickets. We also have Garibaldi's Pizza, so we've got your lunch taken care of. That's this Friday at Classic Arms on Germantown Road behind Corky's. Come see us.
I just left those Ford and Toyota dealers. You ought to see their selection of new cars and trucks. And you should see their prices. Santa trades a Sunrise Buick GMC truck. Top trade-in for old sleds, immediate financing, a true bargain lot with cars and trucks under $99.95. And remember, Sunrise specializes in first-time buyers. Want to buy a car or truck and have some left over for the holidays? SunriseMemphis.com, Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. Happy holidays.
Do you suffer from pain, stress, anxiety, depression, PTSD, arthritis, and multiple sclerosis? You want an all-natural way to manage these conditions. Hempville is unlike any CBD store you've ever seen. It's not a one-size-or-brand-fits-all. Hempville has a variety of CBD applications and brand names. They have a well-trained professional staff to help educate you on CBD and what application is best for your individual needs. Hempville has 2 locations to serve you. South Haven at 562 Goodman Road East and Oxford at 1801 Jackson Avenue West. Hempville, where your relief is their mission.
It's game on at the new Moneyline Book Bar and Grill inside the Gold Strike Casino Resort. Now you can bet on all of your favorite sports and watch the games on 60 HD TVs while you lounge in plush seating and enjoy craft beers, signature cocktails, and great food. Plus, don't miss the Topgolf Swing Suite, a virtual reality experience with a variety of fun interactive games every sports fan will love. Visit the Moneyline Bar, Book, and Grill at Gold Strike Casino Resort for Monday Night Football happy hour specials. Or anytime you want a piece of the best sports action in Mississippi.
Need physical therapy but don't know where to go? Tried physical therapy but had a bad experience? Grab your physician's referral and head to Revolution Physical Therapy at the corner of Goodman and Getwell. At Revolution PT, you'll get one-on-one, hands-on therapy. Better and more thorough than just going to the gym. Revolution is locally owned and staffed by neighbors who care about your maximum recovery. And they accept all major insurances. Certified in dry needling, expert in myofascial release. Always relaxed and friendly. Revolution Physical Therapy is just what you need.
Now back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Thick and thin, I'm your pusher man. I'm your pusher man.
super mean. You know what? Speaking of super mean, y'all are super mean today. You know what? I feel like y'all should be in the Christmas spirit. And I guess y'all don't understand what I'm saying. You know, Gabe said it was a little bit, you know, maybe to understand at the beginning if you've been listening through. What I was trying to say was, as much as we look at college football and we see people like Tua Tagovailoa before he hurt his hip and his knee and his ankle and had all these injuries, it was tank for Tua. He was the greatest thing since sliced bread. But then all of a sudden, we have a young man who was at Ohio State. He was beat out by J.T. Barrett. He was beat out by Dwayne Haskins. He was constantly beat out, and he realized he just wanted to play. And he transferred to LSU. He went out and had the greatest season we've ever seen. It's been unbelievable. His Heisman speech was beautiful. He's raised, I think, $350,000 for the food pantry over in Ohio, which is straight up Diz Ope. And his name is Joe Burrow. But you got people in Louisiana spelling it Burrow, like, you know, Caden style, you know, Bexreuw. You got, like, what I'm saying is the dude he is awesome. He is a great young man, and I am very impressed. He is the 2019 Heisman winner. And when you look at this, and you look at the way Justin Fields started out his career at Georgia and went to Ohio State, and Joe Burrow started out at Ohio State and went to LSU, and you look at Jalen Hurts that started at Alabama and went to Oklahoma. Chase Young started out his career at at Ohio State. He ended at Ohio State. Before him, there were these two Bosa brothers. Just got to ask you, Gabe, are those two Bosa brothers bad to the bone?
They are, man. They're really good. I think. Who do you think's better? That's a good question.
Honestly,
Joey or Nick? Nick, rookie year has come out way harder than I thought he would, and I think that has to do with his defense too. He has a lot of assists as far as his defensive line goes. He's not the only guy that they need to key on.
I like Nick. And by the way, can I ask you another question? Speaking about just look at the team, what team's better? Easily. Chargers suck.
Easily the 49ers.
Yeah. 49ers and Shanahan. Bosa could be making sacks in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is the real deal Holyfield. By the way, they're both real deal Holyfield. But listening to their coaches say they couldn't start. Neither one of them could start over Young. Young's going to run a 4.6. You know, that's Javon Curse. Do you remember the freak? Dude, you get somebody like Javon Curse on the edge that's also got power and strength like you remember back in the day when the Buffalo Bills had Bruce Smith? Dude,
I don't remember because I was probably very young, but
he could bull rush you, he could run around you, he could leverage you. That's what Chase Young reminds me of, and he's not even a full-grown man. I'm telling you, this guy right here is the number one pick, and Joe Burrow could be a Tom Brady. He could be a Drew Brees or a Peyton Manning, but he sure as hell won't be if he goes to the Bengals. Or
you don't think Zach Taylor can make him into what he wants him to make him into?
No.
What are you talking about, man? Come on.
No.
First year, it'll be a second-year coach when he gets there? Yeah, I'm not buying it either.
I'm not buying it. And by the way, and there's one other thing I'm going to say before I get off this little subject. I bring all this up to try to say is it's very simple. Hindsight is 20/20. And if we don't look back at history, we're doomed to repeat it. And if we look back in history where Drew Brees was and how he was with the San Diego Chargers and they had LaDainian Tomlinson and they got rid of him and they got Phillip Rivers. And then you look at the Miami Dolphins who are sitting in an office and Drew Brees has a pen in his hand and he is ready to sign the contract with Nick Saban. And the doctors come in and tell Nick, nah, I think Dante Culpepper is healthier. Boy, those guys need to lose their license, number one. And would Nick Saban have ever been Nick Saban? What I'm trying to say is there's always if, cans, nuts and butts. Is that how it goes? But we could be a lot bigger party if we had more nuts and butts. Is that how it goes? Something like that. Anybody out there knows what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is Breeze just became the GOAT in the regular season. And what happens at the end of this year, watch out. Because I'm going to tell you right now, John Luke McCord's on the other side, and we about to get college football nasty.
The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car